Morning. All right, finally live. Pardon the look, man. I had a tough night last night. It was at heartburn all day. So, anyways, this is test round number 4. So what we're doing here is building some instructions for some waters. And my face looks hella dry right here. I don't know why. Get over just more under the light. All right, so today I want to talk about a few more things about because my whole intention here is to not to promote a business really, but to just explain my situations going um, through life and how I can offer a better way for folks to be involved in getting their word out. Because as far as as far as doing it online, I haven't really had good luck with that. I put it on social media. I had MySpace. I've always had social media from the beginning. I got MySpace. I've never not been offline. Um, but my thing here is that in California, it's changed a lot. You know what I mean? It's like it seems like this should be the tech capital of the world, but yet it's like it's the hardest place in the world to win. I get it. If you win here, you can win anywhere like New York. But the regulation and living 45 minutes away from your competition, it's a whole nother ballgame. Um, if I was going to run a big business, I wouldn't want my competitor living right next door to me either. And so that's how it works with small businesses. And not having any other option besides Google or Facebook, it can become extremely expensive to start a business. And if you have bills and a family, then and you're not 21 years old or 18 years old or even in your 30s, you it's expensive to try. You know, um, Student loans like child support, those are basically the same. I mean, the government don't care what happens. You gotta pay them. They'll take anything away from you, man. I mean, it's extremely difficult. I'm not here to nag or nothing like that, but through my experiences, I found that okay, maybe if I help more folks um, out, I'll be able to spread the word out about hey, I got a business going on here, and not even that works because it's like they find everything, man, and it's not like you. If you're an honest person, you do things by the book. So you get the bank account, you get the the fictitious business names, the fake accounts. I mean, not fake accounts, the fake fictitious name, social security number. You have all that under your small business is his name, and then you put it in a bank. You have it separate from yours. You get your insurance. You pay all your registration fees online with the city, the county, the IRS. You register it with the Small Business Association, federally and state. I mean, you do everything that you think that you're supposed to, and then, I mean, at least for me, and then I say, okay, well, there's all these things online that I hear, oh, we could get a free website and all that. And so I go there and I try that. I've tried absolutely everything you can think of. When it comes down to it, it's like it costs an individual, if you do it right, and if you don't have an attorney, because then that'll be $100,000. You'll have to pay out of your pocket pre-opening of your business. If you do it correctly, that way you own your rights, any intellectual. I have a legit business place, um, like an office, all the equipment that goes along with that, and then all the time to upload your stuff, and then add-ons and extra programs. I mean, it costs at a minimum at least. If you do it the super duper 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 cheap way, because you already have a network, you could get a business off the line for 16,000. People say, "Oh, I did it for free. I just did that." Okay, that's maybe if you're young and you get bots. You could do chatbot thing. I could have done a chatbot thing a long time ago. Matter of fact, I can build it myself. But the issue with the bots is the influencer bots. They'll drag people on, but they give you half scammers. So just to get people in the beginning, they give you every scammer and there is. So you're going to be bombarded when your first 6 or 7 months to a year with 2 to 300, maybe 500,000 scammers because they start to delete themselves. So you might have a scammer and you have to accept them. If you want to build your platform, you have to accept it because a lot of platforms, unless you have subscribers or people viewing your shit, or then they won't let you go further on the platform. So you have to add the scammers, and they see you got those, so they let real people see you, and you go farther like that. And at least this is what's been my experience. You know what I mean? And so I've been scammed every single way possible. I mean, from name it. I didn't even have I've never been able to use my own name because it's been scammed out since birth. Since my social security number has been active. So it's been rough for me. So I kind of try to, when I create my business, I try to make it scam proof. Not because I'm trying to save anybody. It's because I've been screwed so much by scammers online. And it's not because I put my information out. That's just the way it is. You know, somebody got a hold of it when I was little, whatever the case may be. And boom, Chinese motherfuckers, Muslim motherfuckers, Mexican motherfuckers, African motherfuckers, you name it. Yeah. Anyways, so I try to make my business as scam proof as possible. And that nowadays is almost impossible unless you go out and you make flyers, which I have done, and you pass them out and you write a newsletter and you do it the old fashioned way. Now that's extremely expensive. I mean, wow. To have it paid for some flyers, because these are the statistics, if you want to do it the old fashioned way. Statistically speaking, if you pass out flyers, maybe 1 out of 50, 1 out of 30 even now, people might look at it. Now, 1 out of 100, you might get a call. So you figure for every 1,000, you're going to get maybe 10 calls. You might get 2 jobs out of 1,000. So that's how that goes. Now, as far as doing something new where you get online stuff, so you want to pass some flyers for people to look at your online site, what separates your site? Because I've literally sat there and I've paid people to look at my flyers. And I go, oh, no, oh, you really do this? You really do that? Yeah. And then on the bottom it says they get a surprise if they sign up. Yeah, I gave them their surprise and then they signed up. But as far as using the thing, what separates me from any other little platform is I don't have any scams on my shit. My platforms are legit. And I tried to express that to people. Now, being the owner, the designer, the builder, the advertiser, the marketer, and the sales guy and IT guy for one person, because nobody's going to believe you. I promise. It's like I've failed 2.5 million times. I promise you that. It's difficult. It's like you cannot be a prophet in your own home. And when everybody's poor that's around your home, they're even more skeptics than if I was Jesus and walked on water. And then timing's everything. I put my business I've been working on for decades, trial and error. The virus really messed things up with the shutdown shut me down. It just totally messed me up. I thought I had figured out how to have a platform running and cheaply, because I'm basically now I'm not an owner no more. I can't be an owner no more. So I work for a company that is a platform that has all the services, as let's say, from marketing down to online storefront for you if you want a total mall. They even have a text to pay program. But then that comes something different too. So I'm going to explain to you how this all fits in. So by being an owner, operator, and sales guy, and everything else, delivery guy, and all that, it was just too tiring. There's no way I could handle more than 4 customers a day. It just, with kids and the family, I don't care how much people say, well, where's your grit? Well, grit and life is 2 totally different things. You know, you can have grit and you keep going, but your family's just gonna look at you like you're a fucking bum if the bills don't get paid. Period. If if you're if you fail a bunch of times, when you finally think you got one going, it just becomes you're alone, and you can abandon and hurt your family, you can hurt your wife, and neglect your kids and your parents and your siblings and your friends, all the above. You kind of lose credibility to an extent, because it's really difficult. Well, if you take too long doing it as an owner operator, excuse me, I don't want to jump around too much. If you take too long, 20 people are gonna have your business. Period. Nobody's stealing. Nobody looks at one individual at all. I don't believe in the conspiracy things. I think that it's first to market. Hey, if you got it, you can do it, and you don't have a family and you're alone, then you did it. That's yours. Um, Other than that, it really comes down to learning a lesson in life, and business is, if you're the first one with a new idea, you're not going to really make no money. Nobody ever does. And that was the hardest lesson for me, is to learn the new business. Everybody's a skeptic. There's so much theft and scams going on that if you have something new, you got to prove you're not a scam. And how are you going to survive? You can have the best idea in the world, and if it's too good to where it's simple, to the point, and it really benefits people, then it's too good. Then they'll think that it's too good to be true. And so it's like, wow, okay, I got to find one here. And not all the time that it's just that you're a quitter or you don't got a good business. It's just that maybe it's better if you're the second person or third, because they'll it's better to give your ideas to somebody, or put them out there so that somebody figure out what you're going to do, and then let them do all the hard trial and error work to figure it out. And then meanwhile, you could just sit and watch and wait, and then you could go in there after they've done all the hard work for you, and now people know about it. And that way it doesn't cost you money, because it could cost a lot of money. Yeah, so owner operator, if you're in your 40s, extremely difficult unless you have the funds, or you have a woman that's 100% supportive with you, and you guys are as a team, and she's 100% understanding of what is going to go on, because this tests your relationship. It tests everything about you if you're owner operator. And so if not, then most likely that you developing a business in a relationship later on in life, if you're not financially 100% secure, will put a drain on your relationship to the point where it's worse than cheating. This will be a point in most relationships that I've seen, that it'll be worse than cheating. Picking choosing the path to financial freedom for your family, so you don't got to suffer. And because believe it or not, really, that's the only way. And my idea is my mind is, West is to own a business. The American dream is, and that's the only path to financial freedom, is to make your own money. The sad thing about it is that if you don't have credit, or you've been divorced a few times, or if you have child support, then it puts more stumbling blocks in your way. Because if you don't have money, which you can't have money if you owe child support, and it's not that you're a bum dude, it's just that sometimes it just goes through the roof. You get behind a little bit, or you didn't know a few years, and all of a sudden it pops up out of nowhere. You're like, what the fuck? Anyways, yeah, so it just becomes, excuse me, let me just tell you a little bit. I'm in my basement. I dug a hole under my house to have an office, and so it's extremely hot. Excuse me. All right. So yeah. So anyways, much better. So I kind of do this. I work down here, and I work on the business, family business, during the nighttime when everybody's asleep. That way I don't get called 24 hours a day and pulled in, and because once I'm in the groove, I got to stay in that groove and get something done. If I try to work during the day, this is another issue when you're my age in your 40s and you have to start businesses. If you work during the day, like normal hours, um, you got too much people pulling on you, man. And if you shove them off, then it causes issues. And then next thing you know, you're trying to fix your home, and then the business gets neglected, and then next thing you know, you just wasted all your money, and time flies by that fast. Um, and another stumbling block too is political. So, say for instance, you come up with a really good idea. You know it's a good idea. Um, it's not out there, but and people need it, whatever the case may be. You should really look at the political situation, because when people become new presidents or whatever, and that's when your business opening up, you should probably hold off on that to see where they're going to go with their policies. Because if you don't know your environment, you don't know the laws, when you think you're going to open up that business, man, you could get hit with a lot of unforeseen charges. And I mean, a lot. Next thing you're like, whoa, where did this $50,000 charge come from? I didn't know I had to pay for this 10,000, this 6,000, this 8,000, this 9,000, this 2,000, this 500, this 600, this 200. Licensing thing. I did everything that said on TV. That's why they have attorneys, because there's the hidden surprises behind small business ownership is ridiculous. That's why when I seen them going down on the TV so much because of the virus, the lockdowns, it killed me, man, because I know what it's like to be the person behind saying, that's my business. I put my entire life into that. And then they don't want to qualify you for any benefits. And then by the time you do, everybody say it's back. Everything's open again. You can go to work. So they cut everything off. And now nobody got no money. So now nobody. It's sad, like I'm going around the street and talking to people and stuff, and they're like, man, drug dealers aren't even making money now. There's no money anywhere. And there isn't. I knew they were going to do that. And so if you try to start a business, nobody has money for it. Everybody's hurting right now. And it's going to get worse, unfortunately, because our politicians think that the $600, $300 a month was too much. People need to work. Well, they're not in the work field where these small businesses are not going to be able to hire somebody full time. They're going to hire them half time, or they're going to hire them 8 hours. They're not going to give them a full amount, 40 hours a week. And that way that employee has to be qualified for benefits paid for by that business. And next thing you know, the expense goes up on them. Well, if you're in California, they say, well, the minimum wage is high. Well, the minimum wage went up to $14 an hour, true, but that's if you have over 250 employees. If you're a small business, you don't have to pay that. You pay the 250 and less business wage, which is $12.50 or $13 an hour. You can't live off that. I mean, you really can't. And then they're going to cut your hours. You're going to be part-time, whatever the case may be. Or they're going to tell you to go through a temp agency. Temp agencies, man, they're the ones who are killing that's the reason why there's a lot of issues with workers and their pay, is because these temp agencies these companies hire through temp agencies, and these temp agencies, there's no excuse to miss work. You could be there 90 days, you could be there 290 days. If you fart wrong, you're late wrong, whatever the case might be, you're out of there. If the boss is a dick, he don't like you, and you've been there for so long, gone. Phew. No job security whatsoever. Period. So then you try to make your own business, and then bad timing, and then if you got an idea, you think, oh yes, everybody needs this, but then everybody's broke and everybody's working part-time. Oh, but there's all this out there. There is, but it's not like how you think it is. It's like what the fudge, man. A lot of people, I don't mean to go around in circles, but this all pertains to what I'm saying is timing is everything. If you're an owner operator and all of this stuff affects you, because you're like, man, my business was made for this, and now everybody's broke and everybody's working shit jobs, minimum wage again, and now they can't even afford their rent. So now how are they going to buy my business? Use my company. How? They're not. Period. They're not going to take a chance at least to lose money. And so then it makes it that much more difficult for me. And so I'm like, fudge, man. So It's better to work for somebody else, have another job on the side, and hope that because you're working for somebody else that that'll work because it's not for you, if that makes sense. But anyways, so my whole point here is that working at night, I dug a hole, made this my office, slapped together a business for my family, and the virus just killed me, man. And I mean, wow. And then if you're online with like Google and you pay for one of the services and say, yeah, we'll help you build your own website. Those become extremely expensive. And then if it's too good, what'll happen is you have to pay for Google. And then now they know where you're at. You have to pay for all the social media. Everything costs. You think that you could just put something online and then tell everybody your website. It doesn't, it's far from that. You have to literally go to GoDaddy, Bing, Yahoo, Google. I mean, if you do not have an attorney, that you should, if you have money, you should get a business attorney. That business attorney will then break down the path for you, or pay for a business, like a person who can help you build your business. Because if you just try to do it on your own, then you're gonna run into a lot of defaults. I mean, you could sit there and have the best in the road, and that's what had happened with a lot of small businesses. Is these competition next door? They opened up their website. They had a office, and then they signed up because I'm going to let small businesses use my platform too. But they allowed small businesses to use their platform. They said they were going to bring them more customers, and then they could just make the food and then go deliver, like Grubhub and them. Well, they forgot to tell the small business that they're going to own you got to own your own domain name. They didn't tell that. It's like real small print saying that that company that you signed up for, the gig economy, those gig companies, they're going to if you don't own your domain, they're going to make a domain name and buy that. And then you're going to start wondering, why isn't anybody calling me? Why isn't anybody on my website no more? My traffic went down to 0 all of a sudden. That's because that gig company bought your domain name, because you didn't know that you have to literally pay for your own domain name. And you got 3 different classes of domain. You got the free domain that will put your name in there, so you can't put www. You have to put the free platform website. Then you put your business on, and this makes you look like you're renting using a space. It doesn't really look professional on a card, And if you're a small business owner, you want it to look really, really comfortable. I mean, you want it to be yours. You want it to look like you're the owner, not like you're renting a room from somebody. And that's that. And so then that could be extremely expensive to own your own domain name, and then to have it private, which is another thing you got to think about, is you can pay for a domain name, but then it doesn't come with the www dot. So, or you have to put HTTP, and then in order for you to sound and look really professional online or on piece of paper, card, or whatever, on a shirt, just like www.slapduck.com or whatever restaurant.com, you have to pay for that www.right and the domain .com, and then privacy. So it's 4 different levels to it. If you don't want anybody to know that you own a business or you're working for somebody else, and if people look up the company name and it pops up the owner, and the next thing you know, it makes you look like you're a liar. So you could do private to be secure, so that way nobody can look up, and that's where you get the www. And then your business name, then .com. That www is a private ownership, meaning it's a hidden ownership. You can't find the owner of that. You have to go through a broker. So you go to GoDaddy.com, and then when you inquire in about a private owned domain, you have to get a domain agent. That domain agent, then you pay $750, and then you make a bid. So I'll say, hey, here's I want to buy that domain name for $1,000, right? And then that broker will go to the private owner or information and contact, and then contact you and say, hey, someone wants to buy your domain for $1,000. Well, these gig companies, they were charging $500,000 per small business. What? That's ridiculous. You could get a domain name for $100. You can own the thing privately for $7,500. But if you don't got money and you don't know, then you're just going to get a domain for cheap because you see it says cheap. You think, oh man, I could do this. Anybody can. Basically, what that does is it puts your information out there, but then it takes you only to a certain level, all right? And that certain level is it's nothing, because once you start to want to advertise on Google and you want to advertise on certain different platforms, you want to put your business out there, they're going to demand that you have certain levels of ownership when it comes to that business, the further you want to go in your business, right? So I wanted to go sky's the limit, totally up and down California. I wanted to go 100-mile radius all the way around and then market from there, start off here. I just want to throw all kinds of advertisements everywhere and then see who clicks on it, right? Pass out flyers and everything, signs, whatever. Well, all my signs, all my views, because you have analytics, all my views were in way the hell out in San Jose, San Francisco, Sacramento, LA, Fresno, Modesto. I'm like, nobody here in Stockton? What? And so it gave me, I said, okay, well, I spent a lot of money on this and I got a lot of dings because I had put a lot of hashtags. Because when you start to promote your business, you can promote it and it's going to cost you some money. But then I figured out the trick how to go from page 9 billion to when somebody looks for you, become relevant pretty quick. They're called hashing. So what hashing is keywords in your advertising that when somebody types it in, your business pops up. So I sat for, you could pay for 50 keywords, you can pay for 10, you can pay for 100, you can pay for 7, 500, and it goes all the way up to 10,000. as long as you have a thesaurus, that's what this is. It's words. And so I went and took a few thousand words that I could find and put them in my hashing. And that way, those are the keywords that if somebody wants to do a search, then I pop up on Google. That's the trick, right? And so, but that still didn't work because Apple or Mac browsers or Firefox or DuckDuckGo, or they use Bing or AOL or AT&T. You got to go and do the same exact thing for them. And so I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that I only have one company, everybody else who has a different cell phone or a different broadband carrier is not going to see my shit? No, they're not. You think, sure, I hired an attorney. So you go, then you look, and next thing you know, you see the list is 81 major. So you got .org, .com, .u. I mean, it just goes, the list is 80 only, 81. You literally have to go through all 81. I mean, at least if you're by yourself, if you have an attorney that has connections or whatever and do it himself, and that could cost some banks, man, some bucks. Put it this way, I had a few developing companies that were like, dude, Don, you're brilliant, bro. I love you to death. I want you to come out here to San Francisco and spend 7 days in what we call a developer's boot camp. what the developers boot camp is I go there with my notes. You know, of course, we're gonna have non-disclosures, non-compete, all that stuff signed up. But we go there. I take all my notes, and we sit around table, and for a week, I tell my vision, right? And they put it on paper. So that's that way they're not calling me, or if they're developing and I say, oh, that's not what I meant. So I mean, it's nice the way a lot of developer companies. If I had the money and I had the loan, that's the way I would do it. I would go find a company to develop instead of trying to build off of a stupid ass platform. Free builders, yeah, fucking right. To get an app going, if you want a legit app, 50,000. If you want a legit website, I mean, a really good legit website that gets to the point that's everywhere, that pays you own the domain privately, you're looking at around $16,000 to get off, and that's not counting any apps. That's just to get off and have somebody do it. And then so this is just practice. I'm trying to get my speech back, so when I get on here, I'm gonna be practicing for preaching. So I'm gonna try. Anyways, so it's my 4th day in a row. So for 30 days, I'm gonna practice every day. So for every day for an hour, I'm just gonna try to see if I could fill space. That's one thing to improv, and try to fill space is extremely difficult. So anyways, down, you're gonna eat, sleep, walk, and talk, and drink, and smoke, and do whatever you want to do, but you're not leaving this for 7 days, and we're gonna build your dream. Cool. Sign me up. And I was like, and then after the 7 days, then you guys start working on it or what? And then what, are we partners? And they're like, what? Okay, cool. So about an hour into answering all the 10 billion questions, they said, oh, how do you want to pay for this? I'm like, what do you pay for this? And they're like, yeah, well, the initial 7-day consultation is 10,000, and then after that, to build the prototypes is 100,000. So then to build it with the team is going to be roughly another 500,000. So I'm like, oh, fuck. All right, what if I already got half built? Okay, I'm broke, man. I'm kind of like, well, we could run your credit. Try. So that came into play. And then I was like, all right, so how am I going to get around that? Like, that's crazy, because I need development. Let me see if I could do somebody I could just hire 2 developers and I could call them when I need them. You know, let me get a bot going here and develop it how I want. Instead of influencing scammers, I want to influence small businesses to come over here and notice that I'm here, you know. So anyways, I found a few companies. Meanwhile, you can't see the books, but I'm studying my ass off to learn this. I mean, I am studying my ass off in trial and error. Trial and error. You talk about some coding. I figured it out like, wow, it's easy, but when you're my age and you got a lot of things to worry about, what you read and then that stress that piles up on top of you, man, the stress kind of pushes out the memory of what you learned. And so then I have to take hella notes, because the stress will wipe your memory clean of anything you're trying to do positive. Like, it really will. And so, you know, you don't tell people that, but that's just how it is. You kind of try to block it and try to wear a smile. And then if you don't wear a smile, you have a frown. It's not because you're pissed off at anybody. It's just because you're trying to remember. You're trying to think hard. You go into deep thought and you're trying to finish it. And you're looking at them like, oh, you calling me? And you're like, you get frustrated with people that are calling you. Like, you're not mad at them, or you're not pissed off at them. You're just trying to remember and go over what you were just learning, because you're in the middle of it and you had to stop, right? And you're like, oh, nothing personal. I'm just trying to, you know, you don't explain that, but, you know, you try not to take it serious. Try to tell them not to take it personal. Anyways, so then that happens, and So I called another developer company, and they were like, "Wow, man, cool! I finally found a company that would build some bots for me and work with me as a partner." Matter of fact, they were calling me because I had called so many companies, um, everyone I could think of, um, find scammer companies, bot companies that want to scam you out, not scam you out, but put to fill your ranks to make you look like you're hella busy. All those scammers, they were always welcoming, quick, and the ones that were legit were expensive. So I found a company that would give me um, just two. They'd give me a personal developer and two of his coders, programmers, developers. So I had a three, and so that cost was, and they had a minimum of $24,000 retainer, and they ate off that. So they were going to work for me 20, 40 hours a week or whenever I wanted, but I needed $24,000 retainer, and then it was anywhere from $7,500 to $16,000 a week, depending upon what kind of the needs that I needed, the wants, needs that I had for my style of business. And hey, that's fine. If you got money, you're gonna do that. You're gonna win 100% of the time. But if you don't, you gotta go somewhere else. You gotta find another direction to go. And that's when I was like, I'm just gonna code. So myself, easier said than done. I mean, damn it. First of all, the extensions on coding, I'm familiar with it big time, but it's just the extensions you need when you're doing compiling, like say for instance, because there's a bunch of codes, different languages out there, and they're all come different, and some are compatible with some and some aren't. And so if they're not compatible with what you want to do, like say you want to gear more towards audio and a lot of imaging, that's going to take a lot of space, a lot of memory, a lot of cloud storage, and then a lot of APIs, which are basically bots that do work for you. But though they don't tell you they'll tell you, yeah, it seems easy. You just get that and get it on. So you pay for the API, whatever you think it's easy, but then the extensions come on. And what extensions mean is you need another little tool, another little add-on to be compatible with your stuff. And if you have an older computer, I mean, computers and programming and software is going at lightning speed. We're advancing. So things are changing every 3 months. So basically, if you're working on something and it took you 2 years and you think you're ready, well, bullshit. You're not going to be able to use that 2-year program you made because they're past that already. Put it that way. There is probably 600 million software developers. Matter of fact, India produces 35,000 software engineers every month. China does 100,000 graduation. I mean, straight master's degree in engineering, computer science every month. And those are just those two companies. So think about the competition. And then over here in America, everybody wants to do something, right? We're graduating a lot of people with computer programming skills. But it's not like Spanish. If you know the basic concept, you know it, but things change. It's not like if you know Spanish and you haven't talked Spanish for 10 years, then you could pick it back up like riding a bike. Coding's different. Your language that you learned could be gone, like extinct. So it became extremely frustrating, and I'm not trying to break anybody's will, period. I'm trying to just let you know what the situation is that I went through, my experiences, and then I'm going to tell you what I found, how to make it easy. Like extremely easy. I wish I would have did this in the first place. I mean, hella easy. So if you want to do something cloud based, you're gonna have to remember, if you haven't been on like GitHub and Source Stack and on Visual Studio in a network, Microsoft Developers Program, Google's Developer Program, AWS, Amazon's cloud storage, developing software, networks. If you haven't been in those networks, helping people, sharing your code and your information and stuff, and giving ideas, then it's going to be extremely hard for you to get approved for um, to become a developer. It's gonna, if you have an idea and you say, okay, yeah, I'm a coder, I know what to do. You the web and start put your software out there. It ain't gonna work like that. You gotta literally learn. You gotta learn the different platforms, and you gotta learn the different codes and different cloud storage systems. You gotta learn the different networks. You gotta learn how they plug in with each other. That you can plug them all in together, but then it becomes extremely expensive because the extensions thing. And I'm all about security, right? Protecting my clients, protecting my users. And so then you start to see, because you know about vulnerabilities, because you want to protect your stuff, then you start to see that, okay, well, if I have that many extensions open, that means that there's that much more back doors open and soft spots for scammers to come in. So then you start to think like, well, at least me, most people will pay for that. And then if you start to grow, you'll be ran through. Like there's no mercy out there. So you need to literally go onto these platforms, developers platforms, and work with them, talk to them, like just offer some advice, offer some code, ask some crazy questions. You know, people, believe it or not, people are pretty cool if you just acknowledge them. You know, I wasn't looking for no acknowledgement because I don't know shit. It's embarrassing, but I'm not ashamed to put in what I use. You know, there's a another place called it's source code sourcecode.com. You could go there, and what it is it's data. You can exchange data for data. So if I have a set of data, you can exchange another set of data. So you say you need marketing, because you really got to do your homework, especially when it comes to marketing. Man, I'm trying to tell you, it becomes, if you want a real legit business, you gotta think of it as all options. You gotta write. What you gotta do is write down a seed. That seed, you have to put dirt, draw some lines and put some dirt over. Okay, then you're gonna have to water that seed, which is your business idea, with brainstorms. What a brainstorm is ideas that are going to float down into that dirt, that are going to soak down to that seed. It makes it back up, because you're going to put a little line out of that seed, and you're going to say, oh, this, that. When it comes down, when you brainstorm, put a circle and start brainstorming off that. Ideas, throw everything against the wall, and it's whatever falls down, trickles down, is going to water your seed, and it's going to grow into sprout. And then you can start getting branches. Once you get into the branches, then you're going to learn what you need to keep that tree growing. How is it going to bear fruit? How is it? Because once you get it going, if you do, I'm sorry, kind of like, there's so many different things to talk about. You start to become over analytical when you build something from the ground up, and you get the nuts and the bolts. Because every time I went to present an idea, they always had and asked me about some little teeny tiny thing that I just said, that's not no big deal, nobody's going to ask me about. I'll do that later. So in the presentation, they always ask me about that. And I was like, oh. Okay, it's done now. Well, what about protection? What do you mean I'll buy a program? Well, do you have the $100,000 a month to pay for IT and security? That much? I can't just buy a Norton. No, you gotta pay for IT and cybersecurity. And I was like, wow. So explaining it is cool, it's like I would love to explain exactly how it is down to the T. I mean, down to the nut and the bolt. Like, I mean, down to the code from the beginning to the blank formatting sheet, all the way down. I got it. Like, if I could explain to that, but we'll be here for like 6 months. So I'm trying not to be analytical. And so the reason why I keep going from idea to idea is because it fits in there, and I got to make sure that when I'm speaking to somebody, that I got to explain that to them so you understand what I'm saying. And then hence the over analytical person that just keeps on trying that I'm keeps assuming that you understand what they're talking about because their brain's stuck in a pen, piece of paper, a book, and typing and reading. So much reading that when I close my eyes, the numbers and letters just are constantly going into my freaking brain for 2 or 3 hours. I gotta listen to something stupid in my headphones and just think about something totally different to cool my mind and my body down from reading and writing and trying stupid shit all day or for hours, however, whatever time I have, I get over zealous and I just go in. So that's my style anyways. So then I did that, and when I was finding the nuts and bolts, and I was like, wow, how am I gonna get this done now? Because now this is gonna cost me this and this is gonna cost me that. So I just dug into the books, and then I learned the new books. All right, you can learn the new way. Well, the program will do it all for you. Cool. That's if you don't want to have a big business. If you want just a little bullshit app, go ahead. That you can make that. I can make that for you in 2 hours. But if you want a business that's going to have the marketing tools, the data sets, the analytical marketing statistics, the who, what, and where, and how people are on your stuff. And so if anybody even just hovers over your name, you can pull that up and see the demographics and geolocations of where people are at. That way, whenever you do push your brand out there, your app out there, where you got most hits or hovers over, so you can focus on that area, right? That's what you want. That's how it is. If you want to run a business properly online, you need that, and that's why it's so expensive, because it's valuable. That's the key to everything, is the data. You want to have some knowledge. You want to have some knowledge of past systems. In my opinion, you should know exactly where it's coming from before you just learn now. The reason why, because they're gonna sell you a crock of bullshit. So if you know, oh, I don't have to pay for that shit because I'm gonna have to have 10,000 add-ons and extensions and other little extensions codes that work for that, and then another little reader here and that could be just for one little extra cloud filter program or reader for iOS connect accessibility to their platform. You got to have 50,000 extensions and $2 billion. So what I do is I go back. My opinion, how I do it is, and it hasn't worked yet, so I don't know if maybe I'm wrong, but I go to the old school books, right? Stuff that was made about what I'm interested in. This will tell you everything you need to know about the beginning of the internet. This is basically a history book of the internet, the World Wide Web. This tells you from how everything works. And once you read a book like this, it's old. It's let's see. It's from 1993, right? But this book from 1993 explains a lot. I mean, a lot. It teaches you about from everything from what a .com, what research is, what access control is, what Andrew file system, the AFN, all those little abbreviations that you see. This explains to you exactly what it came from, how it works, and what it's for. This book right here is the source of the internet and programming. If you want to do anything to do with data and telecommunications, this is the source to go back and see, because this will get you the basic concept. If you go into a class, you take one of those boot camps and shit, if you don't already know code, you're not going to do anything. You're going to fucking just start hella slow. At least that will tell you, okay, I see. Oh, I see why that's that. That could plug in with this now and see, let's see the updated version. And that's how I do it. I'm fucking old, so I don't have a lot of time to read big ass books. And so then I went into psychology. Yeah, I read a lot of psychology books, but the reason why I read them is because they're like about a lot of group studies, right? And so it's a basic concept. I've always read psychology books because I'm a salesman by trade. And so knowing your customer and knowing the trend and reading body language, you can really save yourself a lot of time and move on to the next person. Um, Marketing works by kind of like you gotta have to speak your marketing, your sales pitch, your jingle is gonna have to jingle in everybody's ears. And so this will teach you how to write what people are thinking. And just because somebody's demographic is middle class, raised proper and graduated, that doesn't mean that they don't you're not gonna market to them because they're over here. No, you can with psychology you can figure out how to market to them and come back and make it like an egg-shaped circle that could come back and bring customers to the top point of that. So anyways, that's my theory. And so I read mass marketing, um the psychology of groups of people, right? How, because if I just learned about one person, that's not cool. But if I have a group of people around me, I want to make sure that I'm giving therapy to all of them, relating to all of them. I'm not stepping on this person, that person's toes. And so hence the mindset of dealing with large amounts of people, like mass marketing and college. But this is psychology based. So, yeah. All right. And so then you're gonna want to go back and once you know the basic concepts, the roots, the foundations of the internet, then when I said, okay, let me go and build off of it. Because to be honest, a lot of people you would think that we're hella advanced, we're not. Like it seems like everybody got the new iPhone. That's because that's your little circle, it's your little world. We still have parts of the United States that are less developed than China, way big time, or even they're like worse than Mexico. I heard Mexico is what we call normal. If you go around here, AT&T barely just came, and I live in the Central Valley of California. We're not even fully infrastructure to the point where you would think that we have 5G set up everywhere, or you would think that everybody has a new iPhone. No, a lot of people have Obama phones, and a lot of people don't even have broadband. A lot of people are looking for a Wi-Fi connection. It's like 50-50. So what do? You're going to develop for 30% of populace only? Well, that 30% that you're going to develop towards that is up to date with their devices. That market is saturated with the big dudes. And so that's, I thought, like, I'm not going to go jump in that. I'm going to go here where I can put, people are still using their Galaxy 3s, Samsung 3s, and they still got their 2003 laptop. And, just people that are like, they're not totally, they're not computer literate. I'm not even computer literate, to tell you the truth. I just do it, throw it in the wall, man. And if it says, yep, successful or worth, I say, all right, save. And I kind of work on things that are fat guy style because I'm a chunky dude, kind of lazy, I guess. Not really, but I don't got time to sit here and waste because of my age and everything else. So I kind of make things simplified for somebody like me that don't have a lot of time to just like, man, you guys want to make this a nuclear bomb? You guys want to make starting a business and building code the same as a nuclear bomb? What the hell? I'm not a nuclear scientist. I'm not a computer genius. I just need to use this. I just need that. And I don't got $1 billion. Is there anything that I can do that is not going to take all the freaking Uploading it is not going to take all the storage space I have on my platform, because that's the one thing you're going to have to remember too. Having memory and storage on a cloud or solid state or a laptop or whatever, however you're trying to build a business online, because that's the future for right now. Which eventually commercial real estate is going to go down. It always does. It's always a cycle. Um, the storefront to me will always be king. I think that it should be um, a dual proposition here, and they say that technology is going to kill jobs. I totally disagree with that. I think that the way I see it and the way I put into practice when building my ideas is technology is could easily be a watch. It's like having a watch. It's like, okay, if my phone's dead and there's nobody around, guess what? I still know the time and the date. Um, it's because they built watches. That doesn't mean that they got rid of everything that tells the time. And they're trying to make it seem like technology is going to kill and robots are going to kill. No, I don't. That's impossible. The world's not even developed enough for that to happen anytime soon. Um, global warming. Um, global warming. Yeah, that's horrible. But what are we going to do about it? We're going to develop all of our businesses that are going to be geared towards electricity, no fossil fuels. I totally do not agree with that. I think that a cool mix, like technology could be working together side by side, creating jobs. Every job is going to be a robot. Oh, we're going to have trucks. There are more jobs. All right. That's fair enough. But guess what? We're still building roads and people are still being born and they still need to get somewhere. So they're going to need a driver no matter what. And electricity, in my opinion, is extremely dangerous because they have, unless they're EMP proof, throughout history, it always happens where a freaking comet could come and blow up over us, and boom, we could have an accident, all kinds of things. A volcano could erupt, and then their electrical storm could just zap everything out. That's what happens with electricity, in my opinion. So to have a nice combination of both clean burning carbon combustion motors with electricity would be great for the future. Um, climate change has always happened. It's just what happens on Earth. We're not like a ball that just is perfect. We're an evolving, evolutionary, cleaning planet that's alive, that's constantly changing and adapting. Why shouldn't we adapt with it? Well, get up and move. Well, you don't. Yeah, maybe if that's what it needs to be. But we're sucking up water, and technology can clean it. And I mean, it's just all kinds of different things that we need to do as human beings. That technology could be our partner, not one that's going to take us away from working and need universal income. That's bullshit. But that universal income and when those guys, at least in my opinion, all those big guys who own platforms and are billionaires, they're saying that shit because they want you just to use their company. Oh, nobody's gonna be doing it. You just relax and just come to me. Hell no. The future is not gonna be like that, in my opinion. We can have we can have in my opinion, people like me that want to start a business and make it green and make it easily accessible and make competition based for the future, and backup systems too, because this virus taught me one thing. The world needs more technology. I mean, we needed to have storefronts on the ground to work and get your stuff and supplies to come into to make your bags for deliveries for people who are on lockdown. And we needed to start in local communities through business, through technology. And we can do that. It's really, really simple. It's not difficult at all. It don't cost nothing. Matter of fact, and broadband is one of the easiest things to extend. And I feel like, in my opinion, that broadband shouldn't be given free in a public Wi-Fi hotspot scenario. In my business model, I was going to use business mobile hotspot, the extra broadband that they don't use during the week or the day or the month, and use that to push out into the public just specifically for e-commerce. So that way folks know, like, hey, that small business over there let me use their mobile hotspot and I can log in now and order some food and then log off and I got internet and I have an Obama with no data. What would be wrong with that? Well, that would create customers and that would actually make people, citizens of that community, feel that that business is actually um, going out of their way to make them feel comfortable and, like a partner. Here, you in the community too. I know you don't got Wi-Fi. I know you don't have Wi-Fi, but I'm gonna let you use mine. So you build a bond. You get to know your local small business again. If you put a mobile hotspot with a big company there, everybody and their mom and sister is going to be on social medias, live streaming, Hulu, whatever, and it's going to slow it down to the point where it's going to be irritating even being on there, and scammers galore. So by having that, which I proposed, and it's not my idea, that they did that in Vermont. Nothing that I do is really my idea, nothing new. I just simplify, make it to where we could use it. You could use it. A small business could use it. And then you're going to hurt gig companies. So they're going to hurt me. Are they going to give me money to not start a business? No, they're going to do everything to nag that I don't or put more regulations. Breaking up Facebook or Google and Amazon. No, we don't want that. Even though they're monopolized, you don't want that. Trust me. Why? That takes away the defeat, in my opinion, of the champion. That takes away the allure of the one person who came from the bottom and rose to the top to defeat the mighty overlord. Like Luke Skywalker, man. You guys break him up. Now he does not have one empire to look over. Now you broke him up into a bunch of little mini empires, and now he has 50 empires instead of just one where I could attack. Now I got to deal with him and everything, and then broken up. Now instead of just having one $200 stock, now he has 50 individual stocks companies that are now each valued at $200 per stock. You made him 100 times more richer, and he has 100 times more control, and he's all the regulation he's going to want, because to be fair, it's going to make it almost impossible for me as the new little guy, or you as the little guy, to grow out from the depths of your situation and into the real world and battle that and slay that dragon of business and become the champ. You're not going to be able to knock anybody off of that horse if they do that, and you won't become the champion, and they'll lure the American dream where I knocked that down, I did this, and a sense of pride, it'll be gone. Right now the frontier, the only unexplored frontier is still space, the ocean, the woman's mind, and the internet is still open. And if they break those guys down, then what are we going to do? We're going to have to defeat each one. It's not hard enough to just take one on head on. What's up? But that builds that champion, yeah. So, and then the regulation will just be extremely expensive. So, in my opinion, so cheaper, yeah. So what? If you're so secure with your business, then you shouldn't be afraid of anybody else starting one that's cheaper, better, and gives more back to the customer. So, so I said, all right, so he has money. Let me give some credit. So anyway, so then once I put my business together, then I go to open up, because I had to have a special account at Wells Fargo. Then the Wells Fargo people told me, oh, no. Your type of business that you have, it's awesome. It's beautiful. I love it. And it's actually a really good idea, dude. To be honest with you, they shake my hand. Oh, Pleasure to meet you. But you need to be in compliance. I'm like, compliance? What are you talking about? They're like, you're a money transmitter. You have to be in compliance. I'm like, compliance? Well, I am. I did everything that they asked me to do before I accepted everything. And I made sure my business wasn't doing, no. That's just to, that's the company rules to get their emergency system. Oh, okay, cool. So what are you talking about? Like, I thought I knew it all. I thought that I had every nut and bolt and paid for every single thing that they could possibly do. I got into a car accident. I got inheritance, old. I sold a testicle, my pennies, my cars, my football cards, my coins, my painting. I sold everything I had, and to pay for everything. And then then they told me I needed to be in compliance, and so I was like, compliance? What's that? You're a money transmitter. Because I'm making credit for people, I say, yeah, this is what happens to a lot of people. And then they explained to me at Wells Fargo, my business manager, and I was like, wow, I was really shocked. A lot of businesses open up under the assumption that they want to get into cryptocurrencies or accept different payments and for different things. And then you don't know that it's illegal because you are accepted by financial merchants payment systems. Yeah, you did the application and whatever, but did you read the fine print? If you read the fine, you got to read the fine print, man. And then after that, you have to go to your local bank if you don't have an attorney, and then sit down with your payment systems, your business, your online platform, your demographic, and sit with them and tell them, I need to open up a legit account because they're going to be shoving it in. And I want to do it with you. And then a lot of Wells Fargo was awesome. Allowed me to screw myself. If I would have did one payment, one transaction, I could have been in a situation where I could have been, by the IRS, could have accused me of doing business for up to 10 years back and charged me $10,000 a month. And that nothing I could have done about that. Nothing at all. Because I wasn't in compliance with the way my business was. It wasn't that I had anything special. I just was willing to take anybody's payment, man. Because I'm getting desperate, and like, I really got to make this work, or else my family's gonna hate my guts. Everybody thinks I'm full of shit, man, and I have to. And I'm too old to do anything different. And if this doesn't work, I'm fucked. And so when they told me I needed to be in compliance, I was like, thank you, man, because that would have just screwed me. That would have been, if my wife would have left me, oh, I took the kids, whatever. My business would have been lost, whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's not my business anyway, it's hers. But she would have ran off with it and everything, and it's left me holding my dick. That wouldn't have hurt that bad. Because I know that they would have been okay, taken care of, it would have ran itself if it was working. That was the whole point, not for me, but for the future of my family, to make sure that my wife and daughter, her kids, her family and my family are set. And well, not set, but they have something to work off of. Like, mom and dad open up a restaurant, and kids go in there, and family goes in there and works there and takes care of it, and his family passes it down, man. That wouldn't have hurt. If I went to jail, whatever, that wouldn't have bothered me. But to be given something and then charged with something that I didn't do would have killed me, because they would have said that I have been doing business. Nothing I could do, and it would have looked like it too. It would have really looked like I was doing business if I would have just took one payment. I did a few payment trials, but to myself, and everything, it worked perfectly fine. And the style that I had, it was so a new payment system, a new merchant system that worked for folks without data, and it worked fine. It was just I had to be in compliance, and I was like, wow, thank you, bro, you just saved my life. He goes, most people, they want to be into the new fad and the new things that's going on, and so then they go online, they fill out applications for different merchant systems that accept different forms of payments that they hear about or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to say anybody's business or whatever, but then you have that accepting payments, and you think, in my opinion, nothing wrong with that. But you're just not informed of your obligations when accepting payments for different things, like selling cigarettes or paraphernalia, they might call it, or anything to do with cannabis, or even the image of a cannabis, like a star. You're not even supposed to mention that on your website. They'll let you, but it's against the law. Until it is technically federal legal, you could get in a lot of trouble and be charged a lot of time. When I'm talking trouble here, I mean tax, IRS wise. They can literally charge you as much as they want to, because it will look like you were doing something that was illegal. And so they said go to compliance. So they gave me a list of things to do, and I was like, wow, how the hell am I supposed to get it? And because I was an owner, no, in the history of any startups on the planet has any self-compliance, as any startup or any small business became self-compliant, meaning nobody within that small business has ever passed all the tests to be able to make their own business compliance for money transmitting and payment systems and stuff like that, and using digital currencies and stuff like that, and accepting Visa cards and whatever the case may be, and having a taboo, acceptable payment system that accepts, like, for adult products or cannabis products, or whatever. You still can't sell cannabis products online. This is technically not off of a big website like a Google or any of those. Honestly, you can. They're letting you, but it's actually really truly illegal. That's why I went into the compliance and filled out my application. They accepted me, and I started studying for it, and I was like, oh my God, this is more than learning how to develop software. Software was a cakewalk. To be in compliance is financial compliance, meaning that you can spot a scam. You can literally protect your business. I feel that everybody should have to take a class. You should be informed before the state, before any financial company, or before any platform takes your money. You need to ask, am I going to need any forms of compliance or CFT or CFE certificates for my business? That's a real kicker when it comes to online and selling stuff on there. Why? Because if you have your account or your cards or somebody else's attached to your business, and it's not just for somebody buying something directly from you. It's if you have somebody on your business, or you're paying an employee from that account, or you're sending money anywhere besides to the IRS, you become a money transmitter. And so they can charge you for anything, because they say, oh, you're moving money from your business to somebody who's not directly involved with your business, basically. So they could consider that you're doing money laundering. And then what they do is, even if you're innocent, you didn't do nothing. You just are using it because you got approved for it. And this happens a lot. They will freeze your personal accounts, visas, your wife's bank account, anything attached to you or married to you is going to get frozen for up to 18 months. Usually it's a year. So you are financially red flagged until they finish investigating, and then they charge you back, a monthly fee going back 5 years if you have a small little company. So you could be charged $50,000 IRS fines, and then you'll have a money laundering and illegal money service fines. And then they'll let you say, okay, you're all good, you can do business again. What? These companies don't tell you that, because they expect you to already know what you're doing. And that's what happens when you don't have an attorney or have a business banker. that's trustworthy. And Wells Fargo is really trustworthy. They um they're only doing what they can do too, because they're not breaking the law, and you're just not informed enough. But that's your fault for not asking or having an attorney, or knowing, because this type of business you want to get into. That's why it's important that I read the old stuff. The old stuff tells me that, okay, look, when you have this kind of platform, we added this and this license and this protection. So if I get on this guy's, I'm gonna need to get that license regardless. It'd be best, unless I'm gonna pay to use the owners of that platforms. Now you got a monthly fee. Or if you do it yourself, you don't have that monthly fee. And so that's why I got the old stuff too, because I found by doing a lot of the small bullshit myself, getting the license and paying that, I didn't have to pay all those fees. I was already, here's my license number and stuff. And I added it to all my tax ID numbers to every single thing I had. So I was 100% in compliance. And then I found that the IRS has a lot of databases that will help you directly take taxes out, which is such a blessing, because if I had to have my own auditing program, more expensive, more tabs open, more windows open, more IT, one number off because the date changes or something. I'm stuck having to do IT or call a company to come back and fix my shit if I have a bunch of customers. Screwed. So then I found that the IRS has a beautiful auditing program that they can help you with platform. If you integrate it with yours, and it kind of does it for you, man. If they mess up, that's on them. They'll fix it. So that made me de facto compliant with a lot of things that I needed. So, yep. Anyways, this is test run number 4. God bless. Good night, and I'll get this thing cleared up a little more and get my verbiage and get some better content to talk about and get out of this basement.